Now, President Muhammadu Buhari has queried the intelligence gathering system of the authorities at the Kuje Correctional Center. The president, who spent 30 minutes assessing the extent of damage at the correctional center, wondered why prison defenses failed to work and immediately requested for a comprehensive report on the incident by the notorious terrorist group, the Islamic State in West Africa province, ISWAP, including Ansaru, are claiming responsibility for the violent attack at the Kuje prison. In the footage, the terrorist sect showed some of its men shooting their way into the facility. Tens of fighters were seen marching in groups while vehicles and buildings were on fire. Well, for this conversation, we are now being joined by a chieftain of the All Progressives Congress and public commentator, Edwin Anaughe. So good to have you here. And of course, I would like to start by asking you this. You have heard from the PDP. Do you think they are trying to profit from a security matter?
Thank you very much for having me here. First, I would like to say everywhere in the world where there are terrorist attacks, it brings the people together, irrespective of party lines. And this has been demonstrated everywhere where this ugly incidents occur. But before I go further, let me first express my condolences to the gallant officers that lost their lives in this attack, and also offer solidarity with their friends and family for this great loss. If you recall very well, 9/11 in the US, when this event occurred, the Democratic Party were in opposition. And what did they do? They studied the situation and analyzed the political implication of this for national development, and came to the conclusion that not only will they support the president, but also shy away from political partisan-sounding attacks. In other words, it was a moment of national unity.
That's trying to see from a bipartisan
approach,
perspective.
yes, such that the objective is to determine why this occurred and what must be done to prevent this from reoccurring. And at the end of the day, they came together not only to pledge support, but to work together in Congress, and the end result was what they called the Patriotic Act. And also they also enacted the Aviation and Transportation Security Act. These were made to prevent a reoccurrence of this.
Yeah.
But what we have said here, anytime this kind of a thing happens, the PDP, because it is an irresponsible party that is unprepared.
Well, I mean, when the APC was in opposition, it was almost doing the same thing that the PDP is doing. Because what angered the PDP, based on the content of their press statement, is that they learned that there was an intelligence information that was shared with the Nigerian Correctional Service, and almost nothing was done. So what it's calling is for the National Assembly to investigate and find out why intelligence reports were not acted upon.
The issue is that the president was there yesterday, and he has demanded for a comprehensive report. If the PDP is aware of such intelligence, the government has not come to that conclusion. This can only arise after an investigation of what happened. So if the PDP have this information, and they also made allegations that soldiers that were guiding the facilities were redeployed or deployed from the facility before the distance, these are things that will unveil from the process of investigation. So to that extent, one begin to wonder what, and given the usual reaction of PDP to this kind of events, trying to profit from it, politicize it, one begin to wonder, are they in alliance with the terrorists? Because they are giving information that investigation has not revealed.
Well, these are some of the issues that happened when the APC was in opposition, and they once called a PDP president then President Goodluck Jonathan a kindergarten president. And that really angered a lot of people. Now, if the same thing is happening here, and the PDP is talking and shouting, don't you think that there's actually a problem with our polity, that political parties don't understand when the issues of national security should not be politicized, if I may put it that way?
Yes, if you look very well, before 2015, the scale of terrorist attacks in this country compared to now, you will objectively conclude that the rate has declined significantly, which shows that the government has risen up to the occasion by investing in defense, investing in acquiring equipment, and investing in intelligence. That, look, globally, I keep going globally, the US, they have the most sophisticated intelligence system. Yet, from time to time, we see these terrorists striking and pulling back. Even in the US, we find out today, even domestic terrorism, where schools, children are being shot every day. So it is something that is the government is working so hard to prevent. The rate has increased. What happened yesterday at Kuje is unfortunate. Yeah,
but when you see the president's advance convoy being hit, wouldn't you be worried? I mean, is the APC not worried that even its own president seemed to be under some sort of tension because of these attacks? And that was almost like a national security breach that should be looked into very well, because what if the president was in that convoy?
And that is why the president has asked for a comprehensive report. We can't jump the process. We can't behave like the PDP, who want to politicize this ugly incident by making statements that are not found based on facts.
But is the APC worried for its president, considering how close these attacks have been in about 24 hours, a hit on the president's convoy, and then followed by a hit at the correctional center, a prison that is supposed to be the most well-guarded prison in Nigeria?
Of course, the APC is concerned, the government is concerned, and that is why the president went there yesterday to see for himself the damage that has been done.
And there's a criticism that the president traveled out of the country when he should have stayed back to let more people know that how angry he is. And the PDP is demanding resignation or sack of, people in government. What will you say to that?
No. The issue of sack is, is premature. We have to wait for the report. It is the report that will determine if there are areas of lapses, people not doing their work, and then they will be held accountable.
So do you think Nigerians are right to criticize President Buhari for not cutting short his visit to Senegal?
No, the business of government must go on. And the government is set up in such a way that it's not a one-man show. All the apparatus, those who are going to do the investigation, they are there. The work is going on.
So what solutions is the APC helping its government to proffer on this issue of insecurity? Because, this has the potential of affecting your campaigns when campaign kick off in September, precisely September 28th, when we start the campaigns for the next election. Don't you think that the APC will be injured by all of the security matters?
And that is why we must question the rationale behind PDP all the time, trying to accuse the APC of complicity. If we are going to be injured through these activities of insecurity, why will we engineer it? That's the question I'm going to ask you. But going beyond that, we are very worried. No government will be happy to see this level of insecurity. But tackling the issue of crime and insecurity is, first we have to be tough on crime. And government is doing that by investing substantially in equipping the armed forces, increasing their morale, and holding people accountable when found guilty.
Yeah, I mean, and to be fair to the APC, I saw police recruits,
yes,
you know, from the recent exercise that was done, and then, of course, even the paramilitary, lots of new graduates, I mean, fresh men and women, you know, being added to the services.
Yes, and that is an effort.
That looks like a move to actually boost, you know, the
law enforcement aspect of, you know, tackling this insecurity problem. You know, we are in a country of about 200 million people, and before the increase in personnel in the security sector by this government, something that the PDP government never did in the 16 years that they were in government.
There were some recruitments that were done. I mean, because
as at the time they were leaving,
from 1999,
as at the time they were leaving, we have about 450,000 policemen in this country, guiding 200 million people.
So what has the APC increased it to?
You understand? The process is on, and we have increased it, and greater efforts are being made. And that is in the aspect of being tough on crime. We also have to tackle the root cause of insecurity in this country. And the government have made it very clear that unemployment must be tackled. And this is an economic issue. How do we do this? The economy has to grow. You know, when the economy grows, people are engaged in gainful employment, there will be less tendency to resort to crime.
So what's the government doing about this? Because a lot of Nigerians are complaining of the prices of goods. I mean, even myself, I feel the pinch in my pocket every day I go to the market. Or I want to buy something, the price just keeps jumping, although there's a global perspective to this issue.
Yes. Thank you that you recognize the fact that it is not peculiar to Nigeria.
Yeah, I mean, if you see what's happening in Ghana, you see that it's a tough deal for the government.
And one thing you should know is that rising prices per se is not too bad for an economy. It is when rising prices are accompanied by lack of employment that becomes a problem. So what the government has done is, since this government came into power, they have invested more in infrastructure than ever before. This is aimed at expanding the productive capacity.
Yeah, but we've seen these same terrorists destroying some of this infrastructure. Yeah. Like we saw the Abuja-Kaduna train and all of that. How fast can the APC do something about bringing terrorists to justice? A lot of persons are saying that the APC government led by President Muhammadu Buhari has not brought a lot of terrorists to justice, and that's why these guys have the audacity to even come very close to the president.
No, such conclusion is very unfair to the government.
Well, that's a criticism,
and that is because
we see every now and then.
You know, I understand.
We haven't seen so much of that.
But actually, when you, as I said earlier, before 2015, the scale of insecurity, terrorist attack was higher than it was today. The terrorist Boko Haram flags were in some local governments in this country at that time. In fact, churches, motor parks were being bombed on a daily basis.
Yeah, but we've seen priests being killed and kidnapped. Yeah, while the APC has made some success of the fight against terrorism in the Northeast, but we've seen a new trend. I mean, there was almost no high-level form of banditry in the Northwest like we are seeing today. I mean, you could have seen or heard of what happened in Niger State when some people were killed in Shiroro, to be precise, including soldiers and policemen being killed. Some of those things are being done in new territories. I mean, we didn't have this so much like it is prior to 2015.
Yes, you can also, you know, if you look back, the population growth has increased. And over the years, while the population was growing at about 3%, economic growth was about 1%. If there were even depression that we inherited.
Yeah, the recession and all of that.
Very quickly. So with that, you find out that there's more pressure on the available resources in the country. And to stop this is the need to revamp our economy.
Yeah, very quickly.
Which government is doing?
I don't have enough time left. What's your last message to the PDP, the main opposition, or even the opposition party generally?
The opposition party, they should tell Nigerians what their programs are. What credible alternative policies do you have? So far, they have not. All they talk about is rising insecurity.
Yeah, well, the job of the opposition is to criticize.
No, but no. On the opposition to be effective, for the people to say, yes, you should come in, tell them what you will do differently.
All right.
And so far, PDP haven't done that. And I can assure you, with having got their presidential candidate that run counter to the mood of the people in terms of power rotation,
all right,
you can be sure that APC will win this election. And they know they're going to lose. And that is why they are preparing the ground by telling you APC will not conduct a free and fair election. We had this before in 2019, and they are preparing Nigerians for this. And I can tell you conclusively
Edwin,
that Nigerians are smart enough. My name is Godwin Anaughe.
Godwin Anaughe is an APC Chieftain and Public Commentator. We must thank you so much for joining us on the show to take a look at some of these things that have happened, and of course the PDP's angle to it. But like you have said, issues of national security are supposed to bring everyone closer together in the country. We must thank you for being on the show.